I call the honourable member to Uraroa Flaville, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora no tātou katoa. Firstly, can I thank all members for their contributions and adding to the story. Very much appreciated that we have all of that discussion on the record. I have to say I feel a little bit embarrassed about the accolades to me and sort of leading this into the House, because all I did was really sponsor it. The big accolades really should go to the Tauranga City Council and Ngā Pōtiki who came together on this project to present it into the hands, my hands, unfortunately for this time, but it could have been Mr. Bridges, it could have been Mr. Ryle. So I do want to acknowledge very much the Council and Ngā Pōtiki, whom I met just 1 week ago, Mr. Speaker, in Tauranga, where we sat in the room, went over the final details before we came to the House to make sure that everything was signed off. And I can say, with pretty much hand on heart and also with a list of people, I know that this was fairly much put out there amongst the Tauranga community and wider to ensure that everybody was in the know about this bill and that we generally have a good sign-off on it. I just want to take a minute to pick up on a couple of the points. I think everybody acknowledges that what we're talking about here is righting a wrong, and under those circumstances I'm pleased that we've got cross-party support for this bill, and I'm hoping that we can move it pretty rapidly through the whole process. I was a little bit disappointed about some of Mr. Williams' comments. I mean, to say that some people go on to Māori land and told the hell to get off and implies that Māori, for one reason or another, the only ones that tell people to get off land, I think is a little bit out of place. In fact, in Rotorua, there's a number of people, when I go fishing, tell me to get off their land as well. So let's just put that in perspective. For Mr. Williams to say that, you know, no one should claim the foreshore and seabed, he should check with some of those private owners of the foreshore and seabed throughout the country and ask them about how they feel about the same issue. I think that those points need to be challenged so as not to denigrate, I suppose, this particular bill in the way it has been. I wanted to pick up on Mr. Jones's point with respect to saying, well, you know, some land over the history has been taken for the betterment of the country. Well, yeah, sure, but you add it all up to, in this particular scenario, to say right through the middle of a urupa, and there are umpteen, as Mr. Twyford's talked about, there are other examples of this. I think in this case, well, they got something to jump up and down about. In fact, if you add it all to things like battles like Te Ranga, add it to confiscation in places like Taranaki and Tauranga Moana, and you add it to raupatu and the loss of land over time, well documented in Waitangi Tribunal hearings, I think you'd understand why people should be pretty angry and upset about these sorts of things, but on a positive way, and staying with the positive, at least at this point in time, where the two parties have come together in a way forward. I just wanted to say one last point, and that is that in about a couple of weeks' time there will be a commemoration, at least the signing of a move forward on the part of a number of the Tauranga iwi. And Te Ranga was an important part of Tauranga history, not that I know it all, but there will be a time when people will go up there to commemorate, in a sense, the Battle of Te Ranga at Gate Pa, which is documented in history. And again, all of that is about healing our time as a nation. And just as much as this bill, albeit small, is a positive move, if you put it in the context of the many other things that are happening, it bodes well for the future, and hope that they continue. The last part I'll say, Mr. Speaker, is that on the back of all of this discussion about being together, just to think about the Rena disaster last year, when again iwi were involved in decision making at the highest level with the authorities through Maritime New Zealand and so on, and the outcome was absolutely wonderful to see Tauranga people coming together to address that. So with those few words, I thank the House for all your contributions and look forward to ongoing support as it goes through on its journey. Ka nui te mihi kia koutou, kia tātou i tēnei pō, tai rāno kia koutou e whakarongo mai nā i te wā kāinga Tauranga Moana, Tauranga Tangata, ka motu ki te kaunihiro o Tauranga. Ka nui te mihi, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou.
Kia ora. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will please say aye.